We spoke a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, about cognitive function and the effect that nutrition can have on how effective the player's brain is working in terms of decision making and concentration and focus for 90 minutes, which it's massively dependent on nutrition. And one of the things I always said to players was, you can train as hard as you want, but if you're not supporting that training with
Yeah.
good fundamental performance nutrition, then that training stimulus is getting lost a little bit, and we're not driving those performance adaptations that we want to with the players. So in that sense, Chris, one of the things I wanted to ask you is just a basic overview of what your week looks like when you're in camp, how nutrition is planned, what level of detail you go into alongside the coaches, and just what your day-to-day responsibilities are, really.
And this is what, first and foremost, the performance nutritionist can't be effective if they don't coexist with a performance chef, first and foremost. We have a philosophy called the other 22 hours, and everything is around those. There's either 2 hours on the pitch at match day, or there's 2 hours around training. So all of our performance staff, they're all well versed with this concept of the other 22 hours, and the culture of fueling and recovery becomes all part of the day-to-day. And all my team is that what we're looking for is the tactical fuel advantage. But I think the way we look at it, and if you're very deliberate about it and you really emphasize certain things and you look at it in certain ways, then it can give you a tactical fuel advantage. If it's match day -1, and that's all about having easily digestible carbohydrates that are relatively low in fiber that the players can eat and digest and eat quite a lot of them. So that's where foods on a -1 will be more kind of white rices, various gnocchis, pastas, pancakes in the morning that have really more good bang for buck in terms of carbohydrate. You're trying to put options on the menu that are carbohydrate dense, relatively low in fiber, so they're getting the fuel that they need.
So building rapport up and, relationships and talking to them and seeing what they're having and giving gentle nudges, really.
So when the player comes down to the buffet, you're not necessarily, you're just going to, okay, we know about that player might need a bit more of this. And you're subtly nudging it that way. And what you've got to believe, this is what I get excited about as a nutritionist. I don't travel to all the tournaments. I go and help set things up, then I peel back, and then it gets handed over to the guys on the ground. And then you think of all the things that are put in place, or all the staff that are engaged in just getting that player to take that gel at that time. There's a role that is just played in that, and that takes a lot of work.